that into the field 2 days ago.
Okay, everybody. Hello, welcome back once again for another fantastic virtual tasting with us at Becker Vineyards. We're finishing up our fantastic vertical of Chardonnay Reserves, and tonight we have our latest release. This is our 2018 Chardonnay Reserve, and this is from the Talent Vineyard. So the other two Chardonnays we've had earlier in the week were from a different vineyard, and so this will be fun so you guys can kind of see the differences in the soil and where these are coming from in the state. I want to make sure everybody knows who's with us tonight. You have both Dr. Richard and Dr. Joseph Becker. We also have our winemaker, Jon Leahy, and we also have our assistant winemaker and enologist, Rachel Fanning, to guide you through this fantastic wine. Before I turn it over to them, I have a quick little shout out. Kaylin Hall, our executive producer right now, her mother's birthday is tomorrow, and she always watches these. So Belinda, happy birthday to you tomorrow. And with that, I say cheers. I hope everybody enjoys this wine, and I turn it over to you guys to take everybody through it. Have a great one.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Belinda.
Happy birthday, Kaylin's mom. Hey, you know what? She also we wrote notes on the inside of the flap of the box that Kaylin sent to her, and she cut them out to save them. So, gentlemen, would you lead us off with a few words, please?
Again, this is, I guess, the 6 months of coming out on our fire escapes in San Antonio like they did in New York as a way to kind of have a lighter moment, a little bit of celebration in these hard times. And that's the only thing I want to mention. And I'm delighted we're able to do this and just take it as 30 minutes of escape. Thanks.
Well, with that, let's lift our glasses, give a swirl, a sniff, and a taste for this wonderful 2018 Chardonnay.
Great. And Belinda, if you have any more daughters like that at home, send them down to work for us.
No, one Kaylin's enough. All righty. So, Rachel, since this is the 2018 Drew Talent Vineyard Chardonnay, would you lead us off with your notes?
Absolutely. So I guess I feel like you always get to talk first about what the year was like, right? Coming out from 2017, you have this beautiful banner. Are you talking to me?
Nope.
No? Okay. I didn't read the signs. Beautiful banner. You're interrupting with the thing. 2017, beautiful banner year. Loads of beautiful, wonderful grapes come in from everywhere. It's almost too much fruit for anybody to handle. 2018 was a really lovely follow-up, I feel like, to that year. Not as bountiful. There was not so many grapes, but nonetheless, a really, really lovely year. So again, this is the Chardonnay off of Drew Talent's Vineyard in Mason County. I believe, if I'm correct, this is probably the third harvest of this. Does that sound right, John?
Yeah.
16, 17, 18?
17, 18,
So this
yeah.
is
17, 18.
Yeah. I wish that I could remember what the bricks were, but I'm sure they were a lovely 24.6. Sounds nice.
They've got to be over 24 because it's 14.1% alcohol.
Maybe maybe 25.2.
That's why I always look and I'm like, I'm doing the backwards math. So if I, but yeah, that 17 and 18, 19 too, but 17 and 18 were extraordinarily good years for that Chardonnay, both of them. But the Talent Chard in 18, you know, when we went to blend it with the Canada Chard, they did not like each other, and we went with the Talent Chard for the reserve over that. You know, there was not a whole lot of the Canada Chardonnay from 18. We had a smaller harvest in 18 from their vineyard than we normally do, but with the Talent Chard, and that was just that beautiful fermentation. How much new oak did this get fermented in?
It's 30%. 30. It's all 100% French oak, 30% new.
Okay. So Doc,
sorry, I did want to tell Doc. I do know that the clone is the Dijon clone. 95, is that right? Dijon 95? I think that's
96.
Right.
Yeah.
96?
what? It's not 777.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
But well, I mean that is a Dijon clone. I'm just asking. So Doc, Joe, what do you guys get on the nose?
Well, I know that you know, we we wanted to keep this in barrel for a lot longer, and you were begging us to pull this out, and Dad and I could, no, let's just leave it just a little bit longer, because this to me has just a wonderfully bright, almost almost, this is almost kind of Chablis like, but very, very nice. It has a sort of a citrusy nose to me. It's very smooth. It's very lovely.
I agree with all of that so far. So, Doc, except for the barrel aging portion of it, but we'll get back to that later, Joe. I wouldn't want to accuse anybody of fibbing, but maybe being a little short on the truth. So, Doc, what are your impressions?
I think it's very Burgundian. I agree with Joe. It's made in barrel as the great white Burgundies are. It's got a lot of minerality. It's the fruit and the vanilla and the other elements are in a very nice balance. I think it's just could hardly be better, John.
Well, 2018 was when Rachel really started taking over the Talent Vineyard as far as doing all the primary work for it and with fermentation through to aging, and also having to deal with me being the control freak that I am and jumping in at odd times to micromanage everything that was going on. Rachel, this is beautiful. First of all, it may only be 30% new oak, but this has just such a nice expression, a nice age expression on it. I like the subtlety of the more milky edges to it, like the butterscotch, the caramel edge on there, which I really, really like. It's not a sweet edge. It's more of you probably can't even have a savory caramel edge, but that's what it reminds me.
But this to me has less butterscotch on the nose than the one we had on than the other night, the 17 or the
right.
Yeah, the 17.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for those of you joining us, this is the 2018. If you have saved the 2016 and 17, maybe you're able to enjoy these side by side. But to me, this is the night I was looking forward to all week, because I really wanted to taste the 18 after a fresh course of the 17, the Canada, but just to see the two differences in there. We often talk and pay lip service to terroir, but we very rarely do we have something that we can point to as an extreme difference. So making these wines from both vineyards the same way with the same oak regime, you really start to see the expression of the fruit. Low Country just grows some beautiful fruit.
So this reminds me of Doc was saying on the other night, I guess it was Monday night, we were talking about the difference in the cold climate and the warm climate Chardonnays. And I mentioned, so we have our own little microcosm of a cool climate and a warmer climate. And this is our warmer climate Chardonnay, as opposed to the Canadas that are way out there in way past Lubbock, almost to Mexico.
Yeah, the Canada, almost to Mexico. Yeah, I like that. Hey, I just got a comment from an extraordinarily intelligent human being. This is genius. It says Kistler-esque on the Chardonnay. I don't know who Robert Becker is, but that man must be a genius.
Let me tell you that in our family, Kistler pairs very well with hot tub and interpreting golf scores.
That's right.
Oh! I'm so glad you brought up golf scores. What a great segue, Joe.
Let me tell you.
So, do you have your eldest golf pro in there for some tips, or?
I don't, but if Robert, if you're listening, Nathan had a great Christmas gift idea, and that is to frame the scorecard from the other day when Nathan beat Dad at golf and sign it and give it to him as a Christmas gift.
Yeah, great. I'm gonna put it in the bathroom.
Well, tell Nathan that we're at the winery. We're taking up a collection to hire him to to as Doc's golf pro to give him some points. Oh, that's awesome. That would be a great Christmas gift. You know what else is a great Christmas gift? 6 bottles of Becker Chardonnay. Just if anybody's looking for early Christmas gift ideas.
For a nice plug.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about this, but what do you get 1 through 6 on your palate? And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when I'm at the winery and I like to grade a wine 1 through 6, 1 and 2 are the front, 3 and 4 are the mid, 5 and 6 are the finish. So it's a easy way for me to track wines and where they're at. So Rachel, what do you get when you go through this? Where does it start? Where does it end?
I think one of the things that, and not just this Chardonnay, I think all the Chardonnays that we've tasted this week, they flow so beautifully throughout the whole palate. You start off with a nice, I get like it's almost like a creamy tartness, and the creaminess kind of subdues the tartness. And then as it flows backwards, it definitely goes through all of that tropical fruit and then nice citrus notes, like little lime zest, that creaminess flows the whole way, nice round mouth.
Doc, Joe, care to join? What do you guys get? Where does it hit you?
Very strong on the front of the palate. All the way through. This has got just lots of balance and a lot of intensity for me at all stages. Lots of balance too.
Yeah, I love the way that the wine hits the front palate. That's very striking to me as well. Just a very that fruit comes off very, very strong at the front.
Yeah, so I want to visit. So there are actually 3 Chardonnay vineyards that we've dealt with since I've been here in 2012. Of course, the Canadas and Talents, and then we did buy some fruit from Dr. Brennan off of his vineyard up near Comanche for 1 year, which was really nice fruit. But what was your impression, Doc, the first time you heard somebody was going to grow Chardonnay in Texas?
Well, I think we weren't the first, but we had Chardonnay was among the first grapes that we planted. Mm-hmm. And we had some, they were Dijon clone, 76 and 96. Mm-hmm. And they were so good, I couldn't believe it. We didn't have the problems with late freeze in the spring. We didn't have any mildew problems. We didn't yet have Pierce's problems with that planting. And it won a gold medal in the Dallas Morning News wine competition. We made it in French oak barrels. We did both primary and secondary fermentation. A lot of
how long did you age them in the barrel?
6 weeks. No, John, I'm kidding. No, about 14 months.
14 months. Okay, it's a little better than 6 weeks. Okay, I'll give you that one. So, would you be opposed to trying to grow Chardonnay in the hill country again?
Well, I think now that we're dealing so well with Pierce's, we might be able to do it. I'd love to do it again. Yeah. I don't think we had. I don't think we really had the Admire up and running with any of our wide experiments, either Viognier or Chard.
Well, I the Drew talent, first of all, appropriately named. He has a true talent for grape growing. And I know his wife watches these every once in a while. So Laura, don't tell him I said he's really good. So I think we're coming up for negotiations again next year. But
there's no contract. I mean, we don't negotiate anything. We just
yeah, he just tells us, okay, here it is. But I'm really, for this year too, we just started getting in some fruit, and we'll give you a harvest update here in a moment. But I'm really excited because the Chardonnay, again, for 2020, looking for any silver lining we can for this year. His fruit is definitely holding par, 1 year after the next. We may not be getting a lot of fruit this year, but what we've gotten in so far are some pretty good gems. So that really has me excited about that. Rachel, you've got the 2018, we have the 2019 in barrel. What do you think?
Oh, it's lovely. It's so pretty. I'm so excited about it. Not yet, Doc. It needs a little bit more time, but it's so pretty.
Oh, no, he never starts asking until around January. That's when he'll start saying that it's in danger of losing its fruit and stuff.
So I think it's equally lovely. I'm really so excited. Sorry,
Yeah.
Doc.
I froze the 17 that we had left over from the other night, and I thawed it out and poured it, and it's brilliant. I don't know if you all have tried this, but it's amazing how good it is. Freezing somehow improves it.
Right.
But
Not exactly anything I've ever told anybody.
Hey,
They should freeze our wine
Yeah.
first.
you have to see it to believe it.
we could start offering wine slushies.
So, I had this one experience with the Jolie in Steamboat, and we were
Oh.
serving it at negative 22 degrees and trying to pour tastings, negative 20. Yeah, the Jolie makes a lovely slushy.
Oh, right. Hey, you're the people who decide to go up into the mountains in the middle of January. What did you expect?
It's one of my favorite decisions.
Yeah. No, give me white sand beaches any day of the week, baby. So speaking of where and when to pour this wine, Doc, Joe, under what circumstances would you find yourself reaching for this bottle to serve?
Oh gosh, I think it could be any number of circumstances. I can tell you that my family last weekend we poured it by the pool on a very hot day, and it was absolutely beautiful. It's refreshing. It's wonderful on its own. We're having it now. We have Dad has some wonderful Texas pecans in front of us, and that's a wonderful pairing as well.
I have to agree. I just popped a Texas pecan right in here. I was like, grabbed one and quickly.
Well, John, the last, I guess maybe the last 2 or 3 Saturdays, you've served this wine with one of Mike and Sean's dishes. They've been cooking for us, a wonderful French food. And it's almost stolen the show each time. I've been surprised about how beautiful it is with food. Tomorrow they are going to have a trial of a cheese souffle is the first course, a Dover sole is the second, and the Grand Marnier souffle was the third.
Because I that's not the menu I got from
Well,
the chef today. Yeah.
It's the one I got.
John, yours is going to be a gourmet pizza from Chef Domino.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I'm sure it's
Ballpark
vegan.
So, Rachel, what would you, under what circumstances would you serve this wine? And then we're going to get to food pairings.
Oh, I thought they were the same.
I know they're not. They can be, but no. I want to do something a little different. I want to know where would this socially fit in. Before it fits in with food. So
I say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It fits in. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you want?
Would you serve it?
No, I really am so excited and so happy with this wine. I think it's turned out so nicely. It's so enjoyable to just sit and drink with chatter. And maybe some brie cheese.
It's brie cheese. Okay, well, wait a minute. Chatter and brie cheese?
I can do it.
You can do it. Book club wine or no?
A book club wine.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, I have a soft spot in my heart for Chardonnays. I always have. As much as I love everything else, and as much as I love to make fun of anything Burgundian, be it history, the wine they call Pinot Noir, or Chardonnay. But man, Chardonnay, a good glass of Chardonnay just makes things right sometimes.
I agree.
I want everybody to raise their glass and let's cheers Rachel for doing a great job in 2018. So
Hey,
Rachel,
cheers.
cheers to you. Cheers.
I will say with that book club, it has to be a real book with paper, not the Kindle, not on your phone. You need the paper with the aromas and the texture to go with this wine.
Right. Okay, so besides the brie cheese, what food would you serve with this?
You know what I was actually thinking? I know that you want to know because you asked. Lobster bisque.
Ooh. Lobster bisque sounds really good.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, you really? So, Doc, Joe, what foods would you pair with this wine?
So Rachel, I think that's a great pairing. I'm tasting the 17, and not to split hairs a little bit, but I actually think the lobster bits would be even better with the 17. Now that we're, just the way that the mouth feel is on the 17. Now that we've thawed it out a little bit, and I would love to have maybe a pecan encrusted whitefish of some kind, maybe a sea bass or something of that nature. I think because I think that this is just such a delicate Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm. What about monkfish?
There you go.
Or as I like to call it, the poor man's lobster. So, Doc, what food would you pair besides pecan?
We're having pecans with this, and that's hard to beat. If you haven't tried that, you ought to try it. And I'll never, I may have mentioned this once before, but many years ago, when we made that first Chardonnay, we were invited to an event where Texas wines were being poured with all Texas products. And our Chardonnay was with the first course, and it was paired with rattlesnake, Texas native rattlesnake. I'm sure, I don't know if Brenda and Dwayne have eaten that rattlesnake yet, but they should. Let's start day. And that's Brenda, it's just an idea, don't.
Okay. Well, so you're saying you want a top predator meal?
Did you say baby rattlesnake?
Hey, not baby rattlesnake. That's a delicacy.
It's Gracillus horrible is its official name. So order that. When you see it on the menu.
I hope that none of my reptile-loving children are listening.
Right. So, besides rattlesnake, which is very interesting, I hear it tastes a lot like chicken.
No, John, chicken tastes a lot like rattlesnake.
I'm sorry. I keep, so there was this gentleman up in Washington State who was arrested not too long ago for shooting a bald eagle. He literally took a pot shot at the eagle and he got it. And which is a federal offense, the federal court. And he tried to claim that it was subsistence hunting. That's what he was doing. And the judge looked at him. He said, "Okay, well, if it's subsistence hunting, so what does bald eagle taste like, sir?" The guy sits there for a second and goes, "A lot like snowy owl." Okay, Rachel's getting ready to leave this place. I don't want anything to do with this joke.
John, does Jody know about that yet, or have you kept that?
I don't think he's run that by Jody. No.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go old school with this Chardonnay, Rachel, and I'm going to pull out a chicken cordon bleu. This because I think especially this Chardonnay, that or this would have been a great wine to have the French Laundry. This would have been really nice. So something with truffles, maybe.
We'll have to go back. Oh,
Yeah, something with truffles, not the chocolate ones, the ones from Northern Italy.
And yes, and I have to say, just because Uncle Robert is listening, this would pair very well with the hot tub.
Well, he just asked earlier, why not brats? I was like, well, we could poach him.
Fair question.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good with brat. Yeah.
It's like the other beer.
The other beer.
British Chicago.
One of our commenters here wants you to know that they're pairing this with Al's gourmet nuts. So
very good. That'd be a good pair.
Okay, bunch of halibut recipes. Yeah, so somebody's agreeing with the fish overview.
Yeah.
Halibut would be very good with this. Absolutely.
They give a doper soul. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. So
we may find out tomorrow, John. Is that true?
No, I'm thinking that, I don't know. You know, I think I saw something about the Jolly Green Giant string beans and almonds. I don't know.
Sounds good. I can, yeah.
Okay. Are there any, and you guys have out there, you've got to start asking questions if you want anything, any answers. Otherwise, we're going to move on to some very esoteric topics. Rachel, what are your favorite barrels for the Chardonnay? Do you prefer neutral? Or do you prefer brand new?
I really like the new French oak. I think that if we are granted the time and allotment, that being able to age it for a little bit longer, then more new oak would work well. But I like the incorporation of some neutral oak in there. Like, I really think that it kind of helps to meld everything and balance it.
Well, I think this would be the perfect year to do a 36-month aging program in all brand new French oak.
Ready?
So John, I do have a question, a little more esoteric.
Yes, sir.
In terms of French oak, do you have a preference about forest, Ayer, Nevers? Have you had any experience there?
Yeah.
He prefers Allier.
He loves Allier. No, Doc, you love Allier, and I happen to agree with you.
Thank you.
Allier is an outstanding.
That makes a good partnership.
I like the tight grain on that, but you know, Joe, Limoges, to be honest with you, which we don't get a lot of oak anymore because a lot of the stave mills don't forest designate any longer. So they designate by grain type or tightness. But the Limoges is not just nice for China, it's also nice for oak. So
I would like to point out, several years ago, we bought oak from the Jupi forest.
Yep.
That was really nice. I really enjoyed it.
It is. You know, Jupi is actually probably the least tight grain of all the French oaks. So you get to me, it's the one French oak that you get a lot more sweet characteristics instead of savory characteristics that you would normally associate with a French oak. You know, we also had a little bit of Eastern European oak there too, which can be very, very nice. And then one of my favorite kind of hidden treasure barrels has always been Gamba. So they have such a beautiful, deep toasted characteristic. The Gamba cooperage, and they source not just from France, they source from other Northern European areas. So it's a kind of a ubiquitous European oak. It's really nice. But, yep. With that being said, I really don't prefer white wines in American oak. That's the one thing I'll start drawing the line on that. And maybe if they're 3 or 4 years neutral, then it's okay. But beyond that, we alluded to this earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, Rachel, when you were talking about not being crazy about American oak with white wine. That can't be true.
John, have you made your first down payment on your house yet?
Hey, I was told to take the wheels off of it last week. No going back. That puppy's been parked and it's up on cinder blocks. What about, what about Chicago style pizza?
That can be good. Is that deep dish or what is it?
I think the right, if you had the right vegetarian Lou Malnati's, you could make that work.
Yeah. But I thought only New Yorkers knew how to make pizza. I didn't think anybody in Chicago knew how to make pizza.
Then there's fighting words.
The one thing that will get Robert on a plane down here. Okay. Any final thoughts on this particular wine?
I think it's wonderful, John. Nice job.
No,
Rachel, nice job.
And I think the tasting the 17 again tonight is amazing. I mean, it's a totally different animal.
So somebody just asked Gamba, where's that at? Gamba's actually not a location. It's the name of the barrel company. I'm sorry if I confused that for you, Trish. It's actually a cooperage. So they source their wood from a lot of different places. We've also used sourced wood from Missouri primarily for our American oak, but we also use some Minnesota and some Virginia. grown oak in our regime, and that's from the barrel company Nadalier. And I've actually used that particular the Virginia and the Minnesota go into our cab and our cab franc programs. So
What about Waco oak, John? We were talking about that.
the Waco oak, yeah, it's
Yeah. They use it for Dr. Pepper.
yeah,
But
oh my gosh, here we go.
I'll say one thing just to make a little bit of a pitch too about some of our upcoming tastings. You know, a lot of our early we used, as you know, John, we used a lot of oak from the silver oak cooperage in Higbee, and because we love the impact of that American oak on a lot of the earlier silver oak, a lot of the earlier California wines, and so it'll be interesting, you know, looking ahead when we can start to taste some of those older library wines that were aged in that oak, because I mean I think the famous story in starting our wine, because I remember I was working on an English paper one night, and I was high school, and I was needing Dad's help, but Dad was stuck on the phone for 2 hours trying to convince the Cooper in Missouri, who made barrels exclusively for silver oak, to release just a few barrels to us. And I think he was on the phone for what, 2 or 3 hours before we got 6 barrels released to us. So that'll be an interesting upcoming taste.
That will be, you know, because the A&K barrels are nice. There's no doubt about it. Somebody just asked, what about redwood? No, yes, I've used redwood tanks in the past. No, we do not have any redwood tanks here. And I really wouldn't recommend redwood tanks, just simply because the heartwood that they make the tanks out of takes a very old redwood to give you enough heartwood. So it's not a environmentally not very sustainable way of making a tank. They're very good, and it's old school California for sure. And there are some wineries that have been using the same redwood tanks for 60 plus years. There's still a few of them around. They don't rot. They're very. They do give off a rather first couple of vintages. You get a rather, shall we say, Greek-esque Retsina-like flavor. They end up stripping those tanks with soda ash and water. They have to do it a few times to get them prepped for wine. But I have used oak tanks, 1,200 gallon oak tanks. That's always fun to clean, let me tell you. So no, in our winery currently we do not use any wood tanks. So next week, Rachel, what's on the lineup for next week? Do you have that in front of you by any chance?
I do, actually. I do believe it is the 2016 D'Estate, which is of our Quattro Stagioni line. Mm-hmm. It's the 2018 springtime. And this was we did a poll and asked all of our lovely viewers who come back every week what they would like to taste. And I believe the winner was the 2012 Raven.
Yes. Right. Yep. Okay. 2012.
I want to taste that too.
Which was your first go at Raven, John?
Yes, that was 2012. That was the first one. Yep. So 2012 was the first year I made wine for you folks here at Becker, and for everybody that's drinking it. Thanks for sticking around for the last 9 years.
Likewise.
Yes, John. Some of your fans are sitting right here.
Yeah. Well, and no offense to anybody, but the most two important fans are. They're the ones that keep authorizing the wheels coming off my house in a good way.
We're not asking you to sell the wheels.
Hey, John, we'll hook up the plumbing after harvest.
After harvest, thanks, buddy. Nothing like a cold shower when it's 110 degrees inside. Yeah, one thing at a time. Whoa. That's kind of funny. All right. So anything else, Rachel, that you would like to add to sum up this vintage?
I just thank you, all of you, for giving me the opportunity to do it. It's the first Chardonnay that I've ever done all on my own. So I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm really, really excited that I got to work with Drew's Fruit, and I'm glad you're happy with it.
Rachel, it's a treat.
It's okay. I mean,
we love every day you're there.
Yeah, they're being a little too flowery. I'd say
it's flowery.
It's okay for $7.99 a bottle. So,
and I have to say, I have to say, if Laura is listening, she gave us Drew's wife, Laura, if she's listening, she gave us some of her Tanat, some jelly that she made from Drew's from their Tanat, and it's just off the wall, wonderful jelly. So thank you, Laura, if you're listening.
So not jelly? Is it jam
Yeah,
then?
so not jelly. Yeah,
Not
well,
jelly,
but
must
no,
be
Joe didn't discriminate that very widely. So,
I am the youngest child, so I don't share very well.
That's right.
Oh, really? No sharing it,
Well,
Joe.
doesn't share.
Why share? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's okay, Joe. Both Jody and I are youngest children, and we share fabulously.
Each other.
All righty, folks. I want to thank everybody again for joining us for another wonderful episode. And as always on a Friday, guys, we want you to have a wonderful weekend. And for me personally, I'm wishing everyone out there a nice glass of wine, great health, and a very relaxing weekend. So cheers.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.